My boyfriend at the time and I were house sitting for his uncle. My boyfriend was at work, and I was bathing our son before bed. I had the bathroom window facing the backyard, very slightly cracked, and I heard a cough from the outside. This house was in a residential neighborhood, so it could have been a neighbor, but I suddenly felt anxious and scared, and something told me to go make sure the back door was locked. I left my 2-year-old son alone in a towel in the bathroom and ran to the back door. As I placed my hand on the doorknob locking it, I came face to face with someone through the glass, who had his hand on the outside doorknob. He started pounding on the door and juggling the doorknob, saying he was looking for someone, and I just told him no, they're not here. He kept jiggling the doorknob, and I ran to my son and grabbed my cell phone to call for help. Remember, I'm house sitting though, and this was in 2004 or 2005 when they had those flip open phones, not a smartphone where you can just look on a map. So I had no idea what the address was or where the house phone was. Anyways, I called 911 from the bathroom on my cell, while hearing loud pounding on the back door. The dispatchers tell me to find a house phone, a piece of mail, anything with address. I locate the house phone and call 911 from that. I have no idea how police got there so quickly, but just as I hear the back door glass break, the guy on the phone tells me to cover my son's head with a blanket and run out the front door into the back seat of the police car. I ran out the front door and saw 6 or more police cars, all with guns drawn and straight into the waiting cruiser. After they arrested the guy, they asked me if the machete on the back porch belonged to the owners of the house. The guy had a machete, and had I not trusted my gut, that the cough sounded a little too close, and to check the back door, he would have walked right into an unlocked house to a 19-year-old female and her young son alone. Turns out, he had been robbing houses and had a backpack full of stolen things, and was high on meth. Anyways, I'm super glad to have followed my gut on that. My sister and I went to the city for our birthday. We stayed in a hotel downtown, and since we were so close, we decided to walk to the bar. We get there and we're having a great time, but it's getting late. Last call rolls around, and I decided to get one more drink each. A man was at the bar and we made conversation. He said he was alone, and so I invited him to our table. When we got to our table, another man is standing there talking to my sister. The man claimed to not know each other, stating that they are from completely different states, but they seemed quite chummy. Also, the men were quite insistent that they needed to walk us to our hotel room. It hit me. I knew something wasn't right. I asked my sister to come to the bathroom with me. I informed her that I felt something was off, but she just thought I was overreacting. I told her we couldn't walk. We had to get an Uber or a Lyft. The last call came, and the staff told us we needed to leave, but I asked them to please give us some time. We were trying to get a ride back to the hotel. For whatever reason, I could not get the Uber or Lyft app to work. The staff told us they'd ask the guys to leave. We could wait a few minutes, but then we had to go too. My sister still thinks nothing is wrong until we go to leave, and both men are standing by the doors waiting on us. The staff tells us we can't stay any longer, but we can go out the back doors. We just do that. We begin walking down the alley. We get to the sidewalk that will lead us back to our hotel, but we'd have to walk under this super sketchy and dimly lit bridge. My sister said, if we run we can make it to the hotel. I told her no, because we didn't know where the guys were at. I spotted a night shift city worker. We approached him, and I explained the situation. We are still trying to get a ride, but it's not working, even when my sister attempted on her phone. As we stood there with the city worker, the two men came walking around the corner together, and they headed straight for us. The man that I was talking to at the bar got in my face and said, "What's wrong, Sarah? You didn't want us to walk you, Sarah?" The tone and the body language It makes me uncomfortable to even think about it. I already had my pepper spray in hand, aiming. I told him, "Get the fuck away from us." He repeated the same questions while he stepped closer. I told that motherfucker again with my finger on the trigger of the pepper spray in a loud, stern voice to get the fuck out of my face and away from my sister. They both walked away while glaring at us. We continued to stand with the city worker while we tried to get a ride, but it still wouldn't work. A group of military men came strolling down the sidewalk. I asked them to walk us, and they did, all the way to the hotel. I am very thankful for them. I'm thankful that I didn't leave my pepper spray, and I'm thankful that my sister is safe. I don't know if it's actually saved our lives, but there's no telling what could have happened. Next time, the right situation will be figured out before we ever start drinking. Make sure your doors are locked, and make sure to hit that like button. In 3rd grade, my class took a late springtime field trip to a famous museum on the East Coast. We all went outside to grab our lunches from the bus and eat on the concrete stairs that led to the entrance of the museum. I wasn't very hungry and finished early. The student-teacher ratio was about 20-1, so we weren't well chaperoned. As others continued to eat their lunch, I decided to look around and kept walking until I found the side of the museum. It led to an empty alley. I looked for no more than 2 seconds before deciding there was nothing interesting. As soon as I turned around, my eyes met those of a man in his early 30s that was walking towards me. His eyes shifted, and I immediately started running back towards the group, shouting the name of my teacher that was not even in sight. The man immediately turned around and sped walked back into the crowd of passerbys on the sidewalk. As an adult, I believe the man thought I was going to continue into the alley, upon which time he most likely would have attempted to abduct me. I saw evil in his face, and his quick and fluid decision to retreat makes me think he had established a set of rules, or had experience with how to mitigate risk during his hunt. I know this sounds a bit extreme, but I felt and feel in my bones that I was his target, and that he had been stalking me unnoticed since we began eating our lunches, most likely observing my entire class, waiting for someone to become separated. He seemed very surprised that I immediately sensed danger. It felt like he knew that I knew. I have little doubt that I would have gone missing if I decided to explore that alley. My mom saved my life and my sister's by being a badass. It starts with us coming home from a big trip. So we all got up early, our friends in car 1, my dad in car 2, and my mom, sisters, and me in the last car. I was 17 and learning how to drive. I was supposed to be driving to get some experience, but my mom decided last minute she would drive. I was a little mad, but she said she had a feeling. So we are in our little convoy about to get on the highway when all of a sudden, car 1 goes flying into the shoulder. Mom and I were worried that they blew a tire. Then suddenly, car 2 runs off into the shoulder. Before my mom and I could question why, a semi-truck was mid-flip and coming right at us. My mom, being the badass ninja she is, puts the car in reverse and starts driving backwards. The truck flips again and lands on its side, and is sliding towards us. My mom has to slam on the brakes to avoid oncoming traffic. The truck slides to a stop 15 feet away from the car. All the adults spring into action. Everyone in cars 1 and 2 were safe, and they rushed to the truck to help the driver and his wife and their pregnant chihuahua. The driver had taken the turn too fast, and his load got ahead of him and he lost control. The wife was bleeding from a minor cut on her head and was having a panic attack. I calmed her down while I called 911. No one was seriously hurt. The chihuahua was happy to get some extra attention.